To the south of the moated castle lie the remains of an English landscaped park that was laid out in 1786 and 1787 by order of the Grand Commander, Franz von Reichach. Today the park has evolved into the Haspengouw Wood. Among the ruins are the remains of various small monuments, a typical feature of an English landscaped park. The restored Minerva Temple and the Belvedere recall the park's former glory. The vegetation has also altered enormously since the original layout. Undergrowth has smothered many ornamental plants. Other plants persevered and turned wild. Trees and shrubs have spread, resulting in the appearance of wild varieties. The outcome is a densely wooded park. Nothing remains of the varying perspectives on the monuments, the castle, or the lawns. If you look carefully, there are elements which give an insight into the park's layout. Here and there, the box shrubs that bordered the footpaths have remained. The foliage canopies remain recognizable, although after more than 200 years, they have taken on a different appearance. The park's relief reveals the course of the man-made river at the level of an impermeable layer of clay. Even though some pools remain, on the whole due to silting and bank cave-ins, it has mainly disappeared. Until the first half of the 18th century, the plot on the south side of the moated castle was an orchard. The story of the design of the English park is exceptionally well recorded thanks to the archived correspondence between Grand Commander Reichach and his steward Servaas Klerks. Franz von Reichach became Grand Commander of the German Order for the province of Biesen in 1784. He combined this position with a diplomatic post as ambassador of Vienna in The Hague. The correspondence with his steward in Alden Biesen teaches us a great deal about the management of the Grand Commandery. The combination of both jobs was hard for Reichach, who suffered from poor health and who was preparing to live permanently at Alden Biesen. Soon after his appointment in the spring of 1784, Reichach developed the idea of laying out a new park. In those days, gardens were a showcase and networking tool of the elite. There were visits to foreign gardens and even guided visits. The Grand Commander had met the architect Guillain Henry in Brussels diplomatic circles. Reichach discovered Henry's talent early on, as he was practically the first client of this young architect from Dinan. For a fee of 575 guilders, he made a design for the park and several buildings that were typical of English parks. Since then, most of the buildings have fallen into ruin. But in other parks, you can still discover charming examples of these so-called factories. Today, the Minerva Temple is still the most eye-catching. In the center of the lawn and clearly visible from the castle. Thanks to restoration work, it remains in good condition. Shrubbery for the park was first acquired during the autumn of 1785. For this, the Grand Commander appealed to nurseries, castles, friendly monasteries, and noblemen. The latter offered shrubbery either free of charge or for money. The plants, shrubs, and trees were supplied and planted throughout 1786. The building work was also started during that autumn. In addition, Henri created an artificial river in the hilly landscaped park based on the mythological Styx. The water for this river was supplied via brick channels and lead pipes from a source in the Trumpeters Field close to the Apostle House. It fed the upper water at the level of the island with the yew trees, which still exists. From there it ran along and around the Minerva Temple, and from there, via a small waterfall at the level of the Greek temple, it flowed out into the castle's moat. The river was difficult to maintain and soon dried up. A hermitage was built in the southwestern corner where the Grand Commander could retreat to reflect and philosophize about nature. To reinforce its remoteness, it could only be accessed via a path between two lakes. Dark yew trees provided shade. All that remains of the Hermitage are a few walls. A flint stone cave was built in June 1787, decorated on the inside with a biblical tableau of Daniel in the lion's den. The inner walls were finished with carved natural stone. In the cave, you'll discover a sculpted lion's head and a man's head. Henry created a Greek temple ruin on top of the cave. The pillars were knocked down by Vandals, and the columns have since rolled down. On the east side of the park, Henri also built straw-covered loam Tartar houses, recognizable by the Turkish crescent. Nothing remains of the factory, apart from an image on an etching dating from 1819 and an old picture postcard. On another island in the river, there was a Chinese temple, similar to the one in Walef in Wallonia. The pagoda could be reached via a wooden bridge. The Belvedere at the southern end of the park with an ice cellar dates from an earlier period. The park's layout was well thought out with, on the western side, a theme of philosophy and biblical faith. On the eastern side, the Chinese pagoda and the Tartar houses offer access to the exotica of the Far East. The cost for the layout of the park amounted to at least 26,000 guilders, more than double Henri's estimate. However, Grand Commander Reichach would not enjoy it for long, as the French Revolution was rearing its head. As early as 1790, Liège patriots overran Alden Biesen. Reichach died in 1807. Although his English park was partially lost, what remains provides peaceful surroundings and an environmental added value to the historic Alden Biesen site.
La maison des apôtres des Vieux Joncs n'a jamais eu l'occasion de profiter de sa destination d'origine. Le bâtiment s'écroula après la Seconde Guerre mondiale, mais fut transformé en taverne et musée après sa restauration récente. La ferme de Konsen à Ousselt, la maison forestière des Vieux Joncs, n'aurait pu survivre dans un musée de plein air autre que Bockrijk. Non loin de là, on trouve aussi le Panhuis, une brasserie de l'ordre teutonique qui était autrefois implantée à Diepenbeek. Les moulins avaient autrefois une importance vitale, et tout comme les brasseries, ils symbolisaient les droits seigneuriaux de l'ordre teutonique. Ils perdirent cependant leur fonction à cause des innovations technologiques de la première moitié du XXe siècle. On peut encore voir la roue du moulin immobile, tandis que le bâtiment fait fonction d'habitation ou de ferme. Le Rooimolen à Diepenbeek a récemment été restauré et peut de nouveau fonctionner. Du moulin à l'huile des Joncs à Biesen, il ne reste que l'habitation. Une grande scierie moderne y est désormais implantée. Ce qui reste du patrimoine en pierre de l'ordre teutonique témoigne non seulement de 6 siècles d'importance transfrontalière du bailliage des Joncs, mais également de la cohésion historique de la région rhénano-mosane. Fort heureusement, les frontières du XIXe siècle perdent aujourd'hui leur signification. pour que la coopération au sein de leur région puisse de nouveau se développer. Cela permettra aussi d'apprécier les reliques historiques dans leur contexte d'origine.